here on CBS Sports HQ, where NFL training camps continue across the country. We're getting our first real look at some of the league's top rookies, some flying under the radar, some playing it safe, and others turning heads, exceeding expectations. That guy included, and that is Giants rookie running back Cam Scataboo. He is catching all of the attention today from Giants fans at training camp as the New York Giants running back took some reps with the starting offense. Here's more from head coach Brian Daboll.
He was a physical player first and foremost. When you watch the tape, hard guy to bring down when he has the ball in his hands. You know, there's all different shapes, sizes of running backs, different speed, different quickness, tall, short. Can they make yards when they get the ball in their hand? However that sorts itself out, handing it to him, tossing it to him, throwing him a screen, and then how are his hands? Can you use him in the passing game? He's got good hands. He's got soft hands. He's pretty, you know, I talked about with Abdul yesterday. This is another guy that you could evaluate on tape and see these instincts show up, where he's not just a line guy. He has good football instincts. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing him in pads today. You know, he's a low level, you know, gets his pads down, runs hard. Looking forward to watching him run today.
For much more on Scataboo and all of the top NFL rookies, we go ahead and welcome back to the program Ryan Wilson for our Ryan's Rookie Watch. That has a nice ring to it, kind of hard to say at the same time. Ryan, we begin with Scataboo here, and really ever since Tyrone Tracy Jr. had a breakout season, there was really a renewed focus on the ground game for New York. So of course they bring in Scataboo, who had quite the season last year at Arizona State, but just how much could you see this Giants run game thriving this upcoming season?
Hey, Jordan, I always forget that stupid graphic the producer Noah made of me looking through binoculars with my fingers like this. It's always a pleasant surprise, and it reminds me that football is back. Yes. So let's get to it. Cam Scataboo, one of our favorites in With the First Pick podcast conversations the last few years, because as you point out, of all the good things he did at Arizona State, and Brian Daboll said it perfectly. He is incredibly difficult to tackle. Now, he's only 5'9". He ran a 4.65 during the pre-draft process. If he had run a 4.5, he'd have been a second-round pick. He'd have gone in round 4. It's going to end up being a steal. And we heard the conversations about Tyrone Tracy and all the things he did a year ago. Also a really good receiver out of the backfield, a former wide receiver. But I think Cam Scataboo is a different type running back, but gives you that versatility out of the backfield. And even if he isn't listed number 1 on the depth chart and is Tyrone Tracy, who it should be, I think we're going to see a ton of Cam, because not only can he run the ball, he can catch the ball. And there are questions about the receiving core after Malik Neighbors in terms of guys stepping up. Running backs who can catch certainly help in that regard. He's also a returner. He also punted the ball at Arizona State. There's very little that Cam Scataboo can do, and you are going to get 100% every single time he touches the ball. And good luck tackling him, because we saw time and time again throughout his college career how he took a 1-yard gain and made it into a 25-yard gain. I don't think that's going to be, I don't think that's changing anytime soon, even though he's now in the NFL.
I think all of us were a little surprised that he fell to the 4th round, but you knew this whole time, Ryan, he is eventually going to be a steal. So things seem to be trending in the right direction for Scataboo. Let's stick here with some of the rookie running backs elsewhere who are turning heads, and that includes Chargers' Amarian Hampton. We heard from GM Joe Ortiz earlier today, and he said that right now there is no rush to get Najee Harris back, who is dealing with his injury. With that being said, though, does that maybe open up things a little bit more for Hampton? Should we expect to see him a decent amount come the preseason?
Yeah, the preseason is going to be interesting. I think you want to get rookies in general, get their feet wet, and with certainly with the caution of not getting anyone injured. But that's that balance and what we always talk about during August football. But I think even if Najee had been healthy, we probably would have seen more of Amarian during the preseason, and maybe even during the regular season. Number one, Najee Harris is going into year 5 now, and he was good but not great in Pittsburgh as a former first-round pick. And we've heard Greg Roman, the OC for the Chargers, already talk about how incredibly crazy good Amarian Hampton is. You see him here. There's no tackle drill, but him running away from people is not an uncommon sight for people who watched Carolina football last year. It wasn't a lot of fun in terms of the wins and losses for Carolina, but Amarian made it a lot of fun because even though he's 220-ish plus in the open field, no one's going to catch him. He's a track guy, legit track guy, and that showed up on tape, but he will also run over you, has ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, and we know that Greg Roman likes to run the ball. And they also have Justin Herbert, who they're trying to figure out a way to get balance in that offense. This team is going to continue to get better under Jim Harbaugh, and Amarian Hampton brings that Jim Harbaugh style that we saw at Michigan and San Francisco prior to that to L.A., to a Chargers team that needs a little toughness, and I think this goes a long way in getting them to that point.
We cannot have a rookie watch segment without talking about Jacksonville's Travis Hunter. We know he's been taking reps on both sides of the ball at camp, but how should they plan on using him in a game situation? What do you expect the preseason to really look like for Hunter?
Well, Liam Cohen, the new head coach, has talked about it. The plan has been to have Travis work one day on offense, and then he'll work the next practice or the practice after that on defense. He's been leaning more towards offense than defense right now, but it's only because he needs to get better as a wide receiver in terms of the technical stuff, not in terms of the athleticism and ball catching ability, than he does as a cornerback, where he was absolutely lights out game in and game out for Colorado during his career there. So how do you end up using him? And I'm sort of smiling, Jordan, because we all talked through the pre-draft process. You have to be careful about overuse. Trevor Lawrence has said he has never seen a person in better shape than Travis Hunter. He can run forever. The issue isn't the ability to get his breath, is to make sure he doesn't get hurt. And I think here's what might end up happening. This is an interesting theory that I've heard, and I'm going to repeat it here. What if during one game, week 2, for example, of the regular season, you need him more as a wide receiver, and he doesn't take a lot of snaps on defense, and then week 5, you need him more to shut down another team's wide receiver, so he plays defense more in that game, and that could be a strategy that you use. Again, overuse is going to be a concern. I still think he gets 60 to 70 snaps a game. You just have to divvy up how you want to use it on which side of the ball it is. But you don't trade up to number 2 to take a guy and just leave him at one position, especially given when the guy's named Travis Hunter. So I think we're going to see a split. The question becomes, what does that split look like? And can the Jags guard against having him out there for 100 snaps a game?
Yeah, maybe it'll all be situational at that point. Let's go ahead and now get to Panthers receiver Tedo McMillan. He flashed the gloves at camp today. Let's go ahead and show you a look, Ryan, at Tedo McMillan here, showing off. Look at this route. I feel like you could do this, Ryan.
That's a great, I appreciate that. I'm laughing, Jordan, because my legs would come off and then my arms would come off if I tried to do this. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, what do you think about him possibly turning into the top target for Bryce Young in Carolina there?
Man, this Carolina Panthers team feels like a completely different team. They drafted Bryce Young 2 years ago, and I think a lot of it has to do with Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, the coach and OC, and it has to do with Bryce and the growth he made over the last half of the season when he finally got a chance to play and played better. But surrounding him with playmakers certainly helps, and taking Tedo McMillan 8th overall, some people question it, but he was wide receiver 1 throughout the process for me. He ended up being wide receiver 1, discounting Travis Hunter, and I think what we saw there, we're going to see that. And the great news for Tedo McMillan and Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers is that Ted does not have to do it all. They have Xavier Legette, last year's first-round pick, who is as explosive as they come. He just needs to get a little better as a route runner and do away with some of those focus drops. They have Adam Thielen, the veteran who has been Bryce's favorite target for the last few seasons. They have Hunter Renfrow, who's came off the scrap heap and has been absolutely dominating camp. And, of course, they have Jalen Coker, who played well last year. And then they have some super athletic tight ends and J.T. Sanders, last year's 4th-round pick. So there's a lot of reasons for optimism, and perhaps none more so than the fact that Ted can make those plays, but he's not going to have to do it 10 times a game. If you hit big with him 2 or 3 times a game and let everyone else do their jobs as pass catchers and Bryce throwing the ball, they're going to be in a great spot. And I feel like they have a chance to be a team. Maybe they don't win 9 games, Jordan, but if you told me they get to 7 or 8, I would totally believe it.
Okay, wouldn't be surprised on that front. Lastly, we got to ask you about Bengals Shamar Stewart here. I know we're kind of sick about talking about this situation, but now with all the contract saga finally over, his first day of practice was yesterday. So after kind of missing some time, how should Cincy ease him into things with the preseason really looming?
This is lose-lose for everyone because Shamar missed a ton of time, as you pointed out, and all the Bengals did was anger Shamar Stewart while they're currently angering Trey Hendrickson, their best player on defense, who isn't currently there as the edge rusher. So I think here's the thing. We see it all the time this time of year, Jordan. You read reports about rookies in particular getting hurt because of overuse, and they've been training since basically 12 months ago because they go through their college season and do the pre-draft process, and then they go straight into OTAs and mini camps, and here we are. Now, Shamar's had a little time off, but he hasn't had those one-on-one reps or those team reps that all his teammates have had, and I think you have to take it easy. I think he got about 10 snaps yesterday in his first look as an NFL player at a training camp practice, and I think you continue along that path with the understanding that maybe you don't see him full-time until October or maybe even November, assuming, of course, you can get Trey Hendrickson out there, because you don't want to ruin the season before it starts at one of the most critical positions on your defense with Shamar Stewart having held out so long. So easy as it goes. I understand the urgency to get him out there, but I would take my time just because he has not played a ton of NFL football ever up until basically this weekend.
Yeah, no need to rush it. Ryan Wilson, always great to see you here live on CBS Sports HQ. We cannot wait to see some of these top rookies in action. Now, to focus on next year's NFL draft class, Ryan Wilson has you covered with the First Pick podcast, everything you need to know about the top prospects for the 2026 NFL draft. You can scan that QR code on your screen and watch and listen now. And the countdown is on as the NFL returns September 7th on CBS, or of course you can stream on Paramount+.